So yes, fire away. Ask any question you'd like. We'll open up to the floor. Who's brave enough to
Okay,
start?
okay, I'll start then. So obviously first time doing the marathon, so I was keen to know what is the best part of the route, and also is there any particularly difficult parts of the route? So I've done Brighton before, and there was an area where we went through an industrial area. There was no supporters, so that was quite difficult. So yeah, so the most exciting part of the route and the most difficult part of the route, if any.
Great. Well, congratulations on your first marathon. That's very exciting. So actually, we changed the route last year for 2020, which obviously didn't take place. And we really wanted to change it so that we got the city centre section. So that is going to be a very exciting added element to the marathon, so that it is a full Manchester Marathon, because it can't really be a full Manchester Marathon without being in the city, really. So I would say that that's a very exciting area. By moving it into the city centre and making changes on the route, we've actually managed to remove a section which I would have said would have been a killer for you. And it was around it's called the Carrington Link area, and it's quite a long road near the end, which doesn't have a huge amount of supporters, and that was really quite hard for a lot of people. So we really wanted to try and take that part of the route out, which we have. Which is great. So now the rest of the route really goes down into Sale and Altrincham, Timpley, and the support down there is absolutely amazing. Like, it really is. It is good. And Becky's nodding her head. Sorry, that's really, really good. Maybe a little bit on the A56. It might be a little bit quiet in places. However, we've got entertainment on the route to ensure that we keep you going, and we are deliberately making sure that we put entertainment in areas that we think might be quieter than other areas that haven't got support. So yeah, so I really hope you have a great first marathon. And our marathon is very flat, so that's a really big bonus.
Yay.
The canal bridges caught me out on the half.
Oh yes.
It's completely flat, and then you get to about just before mile 10, there was a canal bridge, and it was like, they're not very big.
You don't realise until you're running it. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy.
No problem. Who'd like to go next?
I will. Oh, no.
No.
What do you expect the start to look like this year?
So the marathon start is in the same location, very similar location as it was in previous years, which is on the A56 near White City Retail Park. So there's a big arch that you probably have noticed on the roundabout. So it's very close to there. And so the start for this year, we're looking at 2 different types of start depending on COVID. So it will either be a wave start, which is how we would normally put people through to ensure that the route is, the participants and runners are spread out on the route nicely. With a COVID start, it would be a rolling start. So everyone would sort of trickle out over a very long period of time. So it would be a lot longer start. So in a normal circumstances, the start time would be from 10:20 until about 11:30. So just over an hour of starts. But for a COVID situation, it would take until about 1:30. So it's quite a significant increase in that time. But the start area is always so much fun because we've added extra speakers everywhere. We've got additional commentators. We've got different pods situated up at the start area where they're entertaining and keeping people entertained whilst they're waiting, because obviously that time is when you're getting nervous and you're desperate to go and you're wondering when your time is going to be. So we have people there to try and just keep your nerves at bay and just trying to inform you as to what's going on and when you're going to be next up into the start area. And then once you move from sort of the holding area up into the start zone, that's when it's really gears up, and we have separate PA, we have sort of separate music, and we also have some nice smoke that will start off at the start every time people set up. So it'll be a really lovely atmosphere. Even if it's COVID or non-COVID, we'll still have all of those fun elements to it to make sure that you have a fun, memorable start, because that really, makes a good impression.
Thank you.
I was going to ask a question about the route. So will the entire route be closed, or are there areas where runners have to be cautious, say, for example, moving vehicles and all?
No, not at all. We close the entire route. So yes, the very long road closures. So we spend a lot of time talking with the councils, talking with stakeholders, and ensuring that we send out information to residents and businesses so that they are fully aware that the roads will be shut around them on that Sunday. And because the day is extra long as a result of 2 events happening on one day, because your start is at 10:20 and normally it's at 9, so it's a later start than usual because the half marathon is starting at 8 o'clock. And also because if we do a rolling start, that means obviously the road closures need to be even longer. So we're making sure that we're sending out leaflets and email communication to all councillors as well, and anyone else. We do sort of like a route drive and make sure that we get any new businesses or anyone like that we may have missed from previous years or popped up since, and just make sure that everyone's informed that, yeah, we're coming and we're closing the road, so please be prepared.
Thank you.
Who's next? Anyone else?
And Amy, so with our running bibs that we're all going to wear, when are they likely to sort of turn up on our doormats? And also, is there going to be any information on them to help us know like what wave we're in if it is a COVID start?
Yeah, so our packs are usually sent out about 5 to 6 weeks before the event. However, because there are so many people, 40,000, it may take a couple of weeks for all of those packs to get out. So it may be 2 to 3 weeks before the event when it actually lands on your door. And those bibs themselves have a nice big race number on. They might also have your name if you've requested that. And then at the bottom, there's a strip that will say, for example, Red Wave A. And you'll be going into Red Wave A. And then when you go to the start area, you'll see big signs that say Red Wave A. And then you can stand anywhere in that wave as long as you're in that red wave. And in the A section, sorry. So there's a Red Wave A, B, and C, for example. So you'd stay in the particular zone for yourself. And that would be the same in either scenario of COVID or non-COVID, because we just want to make it as simple as possible to enable, changes that might happen on the day. So yeah, so you should receive that, and you'll also, within that pack, you'll also receive a little information sheet as well that will give you a bit more information. And on the back of that racing bib, which is really important, you have to put your medical information and emergency contact details and anything like that, so we can make sure that we can contact anyone if needed. And we also, which is probably jumping the gun if anyone is going to ask this, we also provide an event guide online, so that you can have all the information you need prior to the event. So that should be live 6 weeks out from the event as well.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Can I ask one more question?
You can, of course.
Yeah. So, of course, one of the perks of running an event is the goodie bags, and I love a goodie bag. So, what can we expect from the goodie bag?
So we have treats at the end, but it's not in a bag. We're being environmentally friendly by removing the bags. So when you cross the finish line, you'll be given a medal at the medal moment. So you'll be provided that over your neck or handed to you, depending on the distance that we need to make sure with COVID. And then as you go through the finish line area, you'll be able to pick up your water bottle, a t-shirt. So some of our partners are providing some additional goodies for you as well. And then once you've gone through that area, you'll finish off into the event village. And in there'll be additional partner activations. So Hoka on Ione, for example, and 2XU will be doing nice activations that you can visit. We'll also have a merchandise stand that you can go to. And if you're running for a charity, there's going to be charity tents all along, so you can go and visit your chosen charity. And then we also are providing, as you continue around the event village, a massage, which is a first come, first served. So there may be a bit of a queue for that much needed massage, I'd imagine. And then obviously there's our bag tent in there as well, so you can drop off your bags. But again, we always advise people to travel light as best they can, just to avoid queues.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And yeah, when I did the half marathon in 2019, I got in an ice bath at the end.
Oh yes,
Somebody.
Wow.
That was another part of it. Yeah, they provided. It was quite fun. They had lots of ice where you could put your feet in and sit on a bench, and then they'd chat to you. Yeah, that was. That's not happening this year though.
Yeah, and with a free glass of Erdinger.
Yes,
Free beer. That was.
You'll definitely be getting a free glass of alcohol-free Erdinger. Yeah, which is really nice because it's just got those electrolytes and other bits in it that are just really, it's really refreshing afterwards. So you'll get that immediately as you come back into the event village itself.
And you can still drive home.
And you can still drive home if your legs are working.
With the things like t-shirts, bearing in mind that I'm in the last wave and I've got it's going to take me forever to get round. When it comes to sizes and things, how's that going to be regulated? Because sometimes in events, when you get to the finish line, they've only got extra small, which doesn't fit most of us.
No, I completely understand that. That is a very valid point. We actually spend quite a lot of time forecasting, and we also always overorder what we need as well to ensure that doesn't happen. However, if that unfortunately does happen, which we really don't want to happen, you can contact us and we'll make sure we can get one to you. We'll get some more produced and make sure that you have something so that you have a finisher t-shirt.
Aimee, on. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, you're right. I was just going to say, can I ask about the water stations and what they'll be at the water stations?
Yes, so we'll have 8 water stations on the marathon route, and at 4 of them there'll be gel stations as well. So they'll be dotted along, sort of alternating the 8 water stations, and they will all be bottled water. We were going to trial in 2020 cups and sort of bowsers to ensure that we were being a bit more sustainable, but unfortunately just with COVID it's better to just have water bottles that we don't have to have too much transference. So that's a really good amount of water stations to ensure that you're hydrated all the way around. We also will have big target bins at the water stations, which have a big sign on them and a big target ball. So if you've got any sort of aim whilst you're running, you could try and aim for the target and ensure that your water bottle goes into those bins. It's just to ensure that we're able to, the waste team are able to collect clean bottles so that they can be recycled well. If they're dirty or if they're thrown into hedges, which quite often does happen, which is a real shame, then they're not always seen, and then it's not great for residents to find those bottles in their hedges. So we ask that either on the side of the road or preferably in those bins.
Yeah, I must admit, I did try to get them in the bins last time, and not all of them went in. I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. Well done on trying it. It's quite hard to do, and you're probably absolutely knackered on your way around. Top marks for trying, though.
Yeah, Aimee, I had a question on paces. So at what slots do you have paces, and how many paces per slot?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, you have 25 paces in total. And it's ranging from 3 hours to 6 hours. So we have a back pacer at 6 hours now. That's an additional one that we didn't used to have. But we have, and they're 15-minute slots, and we have more in the more in the times that are more popular, so that they're easier to be seen. So we have more in the popular areas and less. So if the elite sort of really fast, we'd only have a couple, and then we'd have more in the sort of popular sort of running time. But I don't know off the top of my head the exact amount. It's on an Excel spreadsheet somewhere. Jo, did you want to know about accessibility requirements at all?
Oh, yes, please.
So we will provide you with, so anyone that needs any accessibility requirements, whether it's disabled or mental health or any sort of ability, they can be directed to the accessibility area, which is up at the start. So we will, as long as we're informed, we will email everyone individually with an information pack on where to go, with directions on how to get to the accessibility area. And that is up literally right at the start line, and it's a separate segregated area where there's a disabled toilet, there's cover, and there's also a charity provider called Activity Alliance who will be up there, and they are managing the elites, and they're also able-bodied, ambulant athletes as well. in that area. And then what would happen is that they have a list and they know exactly what time you're due to go. And they would make sure that you're filtered into the top of your wave, so the time that you should be setting off at, so you'd be in the front of that time. And it just makes it a nice area to wait, really, rather than being in amongst thousands of people.
That's brilliant. It's so much better when they put us at the start of a wave rather than at the end.
Yeah.
Because you just spend the entire first part of the race fighting to get through the people that
exactly. And then you might hit someone's ankles or anything, and you have to yell to try and get past them. And yeah, so it makes your experience much better, definitely. That's good.
Have you got any provision for those people that do follow the Jeff Galloway method and run walking paces, or is it all just straight out running paces?
It's running paces. So we have a maximum time that runners can get around. So 6 hours is generally what we say. We have a little bit of leeway on that, but because of the road closure times, that is our sort of cut-off time. And if anyone does struggle on their way around, or we do have a sweep vehicle as well to help people at the back to ensure they are not sort of left on their own on the route.
Yeah, I think with pacing, having done it before, we tend to try and do an even distribution of effort and run even splits throughout the whole race, because that way, if you go too fast at the start and then you run out of juice at the end, or if you go off too slow, you've left too much for people to make up, and they're trying the hardest to make it up, but they can't quite do it. So, just a nice even pace is the most efficient way to do
Definitely.
it.
And I think many people I've done it myself, I get so excited and you don't realise that you're going a lot faster than you thought you were, just so proud. And then you're like, oh, hold up, and you just don't want to injure yourself or just burn out far too soon. So yes, just try and like just hold back and just observe what's happening at the start, and just sort of take it gently at the beginning. And it's always nice to have a faster second half if you can. But whatever works really for you and your sort of program that you're working to.
Yeah, and sometimes the first mile can be a little slower than needed because, of course, you've got crowding at the start, but the pacer will gradually make that up. So just trust them and they'll get you there.
They're all brilliant pacers. We ensure that all the pacers are well versed. They've paced before. They're never first timers on our marathon. They've got to have paced a lot of other events prior to joining, just to make sure, because they also want to make sure they're getting the right time, and they're devastated if they by mistake get out of that time, because then they get so drawn along with you guys. They really want to help you make sure you get the time you want as well. And we will be updating our website with the pacers bios for this year shortly, to be able to and know who they are and know their faces and meet them on the day.
And is there going to be an app for our friends and family to track us while we're running?
So we're going to have the ability to track, absolutely. It might not be a completely Manchester-owned app. It is likely to be a link to be able to follow your on an app, but be able to follow your loved ones around. So we want to make sure, because that's so important to know where anyone is on the route, and also when people are trying to cheer at a certain point, they want to know where they are. And we'll make sure also that we have timing points on the route as well. So we have split points at various points along the route. So that's useful for you when you get your timing, but it's also a way of us knowing really where you are on that route as well.
Yeah, I know from the half again that my family managed to catch me at various points by jumping on the metro, worked out approximately where I'd be, and then jump on the metro and work out
where to go.
Me to get to the next point and meet me there. So it was really good for that. It's one of the best marathons for that. But the fact that they can get around and find you quite easily.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think it makes a big difference. We also have loads of updates going on all day as well. The marketing team are working really hard on that day to ensure that everyone's up there to see what's going on and be part of the day as well.
And yeah, Amy, what obviously, like people will always be concerned about COVID at the moment, and people talk about a COVID secure or COVID measures, but what does that actually mean at the race? What has been done to try and make it safe?
So we've been working closely with stakeholders to make sure that we're all sort of on the same page, really, to make sure that they're happy that we're putting on a safe event. I have a very thorough risk assessment that's COVID specific, as well as all of our other risk assessments we have. And it is likely, but it all depends on what happens with the government guidelines, but it's likely that we will ask all runners to do a lateral flow test before, as just being a good citizen, to check that they're not turning up with any symptoms. We will also send out a medical questionnaire to all runners as well and ask them to fill that out just to check that they've ticked to say they've not got any COVID symptoms. And then actually at the event itself, we have measures in place for our staff, which will be ensuring they have masks and they're keeping socially distanced if required at the time. And also we will have hand sanitizer all over the place. We will also ensure that toilets are and touch points are cleaned regularly. And if it's deemed necessary, we may suggest that at water stations and areas where we need to hand things, that actually the runner picks it up themselves rather than us handing it. So, but that will all become a lot clearer as we get closer to the event. But yeah, we're ensuring that we're planning for any worst case scenarios so that's really sealed, and then we're hoping that we can claw back if that's not necessary.
Yeah, that's really reasonable as a runner. These lateral flow tests are really easy to get hold of now. Just order them online. They turn up at your house. So it's a simple thing to do to protect everyone.
Yes, exactly. And everyone's there for the same reason. So, everyone you'd hope would really want to do it to ensure they're not going to infect anyone else. But we are very lucky that our event is, completely outdoors as well. So, any spread is highly unlikely. So, yeah, it's fingers crossed everything goes well till October.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. That was really good questions.
Race photos.
Sorry, go on,
Sorry,
Hassan.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love race photos. So is there going to be many photographers on the route, and is there any specific areas which would make a great race photo so we can throw out those smiles at that point when you give a jump?
We work with a provider to ensure that we have lots of professional photo points en route. The actual locations of those haven't yet been decided, but I'm sure you will notice them when you're out on the route. They'll be quite obvious, and you can do your little jump or big smile as you go past. We will also have at the end in the event village, we'll have a photo opportunity as well. So we'll have either a nice backdrop or something like that where you can take a selfie, but also there'll be a professional photographer there as well. So yeah, there'll be lots of opportunities for nice photos, and then you'll be emailed afterwards or contacted afterwards to get those photos.
Great.
And Aimee, have we got any elite runners in the field, or any celebrities going around, or anything like that?
We haven't got any celebrities at the moment, but we have got elite runners. We do get a really good elite field. We're usually about 50 elite runners that will be at the front of the pack, making some really good times. So yeah, we're hoping they'll make a really good time, which is it's great for our event if they do. But you'll see them getting geared up right at the front.
And I was going to ask about fancy dress as well. Is it okay for people to do a bit of fancy dress if they want?
Yeah, absolutely. We get all sorts of requests for people to do fancy dress. Sometimes I have to check what it is because sometimes it can involve dragging something along the road with them, which could disturb our mats or something like that. So I wouldn't want that to ruin our timing or anything like that. But on the whole, it's absolutely brilliant. They look great, and I can't believe they can actually run a marathon in it. It's quite amazing. We also get Guinness World Records holders as well that come, and they ask to do all sorts of things. We had someone in a straight jacket, had a guy running in flip-flops the entire way around, and he did it, and he got his Guinness World Records, so he was ecstatic about that. I think we were going to get the same guy in handcuffs as well, but I'm not sure that actually happened in the end. But yeah, so there's all sorts of requests that come through.